It doesn't matter. It's a casual thing.
You gonna edit it?
Huh?
You gonna edit it?
No, I never edit anything.
Well, it makes it really dull for people listening then.
Why?
Did I say that out loud?
That's okay, because we get those kind of stuff on there. Why does it make it dull?
Because who wants to hear us bantering about
People
nothing?
do. That's what podcasts are all about. They love to hear people banter.
Hey everybody, you want to hear us talk about cats and crap like that? My girlfriend's cat is so old.
There are podcasts about cats.
I know there are. There's podcasts about everything.
They're 4 hours long, but get millions of views.
Everyone's a star, which is a charity that I'm loosely aligned with. Everybody's a star, I think it's called.
But anyway, this is Pod Potatoes with Mark Selzer.
And Doug Scribner.
And a pod potato is a couch potato is someone that watches television all day. And a pod potato is someone that listens to podcasts all day. Now, I don't know why I have to explain that, because people ask me sometimes, they either say, oh, great name, or they say, oh, I don't understand. What does pod potatoes mean?
I wouldn't have understood it. So I was one of those guys. If you told me to think about it, I might have thought about it and came to it, but I didn't want to think that hard because it burns too many calories thinking that hard.
Yeah, don't do that.
No. I think about Bitcoin, which burns a lot of calories because it's hard.
Right. So that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency.
You like that segue?
And yes, it's good. And Doug Scribner is an expert.
Well, I wouldn't say expert, but I've been around the space since 2011 when the price of Bitcoin was a mere $3.50.
And how much is it now?
7,300.
And what was it worth at its peak?
19,700.
So it's
Hey, look who's joining us. It's Mark Hilgenberg.
Mark Hilgenberg.
Wow.
Another Bitcoin
guru
at this point, in cryptocurrency guru.
Who didn't listen to Doug 5 years ago.
Who didn't listen to Doug. I just didn't have any. I was in 4,000 in debt. And I tried on my business. I said on my business, I accept Bitcoin.
Right.
No one would buy anything with Bitcoin.
No.
You didn't buy any, Doug? You should have bought records.
I sent Mark Bitcoin like 3 years ago or so, something like that. Was it longer, maybe? No, it was 3 years ago, probably. And, you lost it, of course. You locked yourself out, forgot your password, whatever.
So I lost $50.
Well, it was $1 at the time. Now it's $50.
Right.
Isn't that sad?
Yeah.
Don't rub it in.
So if it was $5,000, it would then be $50,000 or $500,000.
$500,000. If I had given you
$500,000.
It did about a 10x in the last 3
But
years.
it's people like you that increase the value of Bitcoin.
Why is that, Mark?
Think about it.
You're just going to distort this out. See right there? See right here on the thing?
Yeah.
We're already in the red. That means
we're
it
good.
takes us up. We're good.
We're screwed.
We're
Because
fine.
think about how many
You
people.
do not have to worry about it.
I did it. Everybody did it. Lost Bitcoin.
I've lost Bitcoin.
Tons and tons of.
Or I've given it away to people who have subsequently lost it.
There's a guy in England right now that's paid a full-time staff to be digging in a dump or in the
Garbage landfill.
In the landfill, because he dumped a laptop that he had back like 2010, something like that.
Well,
he was
it'd be
mining
2011.
Bitcoin on his laptop. He had 7,000 of them, but they were worth, probably 70 cents total at the time.
Right.
Threw away his laptop, forgot about it, then realized, oh my gosh, I just threw away 7,000 Bitcoin. So he's been looking for years now in this landfill. That's like
21 million today.
20 more than that.
Oh, 210 million.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Digging it up.
So there's
Digging it up.
so multiply him and all the people like you and me and all of us that lost Bitcoin that we had on wallets.
My brother-in-law.
So there might only be 14 million of them in existence. Subtract out the ones that are lost. There's probably 10 million Bitcoin. So in the world, there's 10 million people that could own one Bitcoin or more. Worldwide.
Because it's digital scarcity. This is one of the amazing things about Bitcoin. They discovered a way. MP3 files. If you have an MP3 file, can you make another MP3 file? Can you make a copy of that?
Yeah.
You sure can. And then you can give that to your friends and then they can make copies of it, right?
But you can't make copies of Bitcoin.
Right. They just one of the inventions of Satoshi Nakamoto, one of the processes of the Bitcoin algorithm is that it cannot be copied. It's called digital scarcity. It has never existed.
Think of all the people that threw away their punk rock records.
Oh, I know, Mark.
I know.
You know the best about that, right?
So some of those records could be worth $1,000 right now.
I still have mine. I need that list.
Sold at garage sales for 13 cents or
Sold at
25
the garage
cents.
sales for 30 cents. Took them to the local record store and they ripped you off and gave you $1 a piece and took them home and sold them on eBay for $150 each or whatever they were worth.
Now that's physical scarcity. They don't make those that pressed vinyl album anymore.
Right, and there's also all kinds of other records that are valuable. Like occasionally I picked up jazz records and other things like that. Japanese experimental ambient noise jazz records
Nice.
in the $1 bin and sold them for $150.
Wow.
People just don't know what they're worth.
People just love underground Japanese
people.
ambient noise jazz music.
That's what I'm
And you
Googling
didn't
when I get
know
home.
that, you know?
I'm Googling that when I get home.
Wow.
Oh, the Japanese have all kinds of great
Don't play it for me.
experimental music, and they also have all
Like
kinds
Yoko Ono, for
of punk.
example.
Yoko Ono. But these people live in Japan, and they also have lots of very strange punk rock bands in the 1970s.
Yeah.
And if you get a hold of those records, those could be worth. I have them all sitting in my house, and some of them could be worth $1,000.
Jeez.
Nice.
So
I actually
you know,
love a lot of J-pop from the 70s,
yeah,
like
if
old
you-
school J-pop.
You know,
Gross.
there was a band called Pink Lady too,
And Jeff?
huh?
There was a variety show
70s
called
TV
Pink
show.
Lady and Jeff.
Jeff Altman.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, Jeff
There was
Altman.
the Pink Lady records can now be worth a little bit of money too. So everything then, you know, but at a certain point when things started to come out on CD, most of the vinyl just got thrown in the trash.
Yep.
And a lot of it went down to nothing. A lot of the vinyl was sort of zilcho.
Because most digital products can be copied over
But
and
people
over
who
and
listen to MP3s
Right.
grew up listening to MP3s and grew up listening to just, you know, YouTube videos. When they hear a record of a song, an actual vinyl record, they go, wow,
Yeah.
what the fuck is that?
It's a different sound.
There's something that's missing in these MP3s.
Yeah.
There's some kind of real soul, some kind of thing that you can't put your finger on, but it's there, you know?
Yeah.
But
There was,
anyway,
an
back
episode-
to Bitcoin.
Oh, I was just going to tell you real quick, though. An
Go ahead.
episode of Everybody Loves Raymond.
Uh-huh.
Ray got his dad a CD player to play all his old favorite jazz music.
Uh-huh.
Because his dad just had a, vinyl. It's all cracking and popping and skipping.
Uh-huh.
And his dad's like pissed off. No, I don't want to listen to it, and just angry because it was all perfect.
Right.
And then the end of the show is his dad sitting there with his vinyl back on. It's all popping and dinging. And it was, it's what you knew. It's what he knew.
You can restore those records too. You want to clean, if you have vinyl records, you want to clean them with rubbing alcohol. Okay, and Kleenex.
And there's a de-staticking device you can do too.
Yeah, but the best thing is just clean with rubbing alcohol, because what rubbing alcohol does is it takes the grease from your fingers and everyone else's fingers that has touched that record off of the record, and that's where all the junk and the static
And the pops.
lint is coming from.
Right.
Okay, so all records have that, and now they were working on you could just put the record on a scanner, and then a program would play it inside of your computer.
You mean it would scan the grooves and
Scan the grooves of the
recognize the vibrations and
In fact, a lot of old 78s, those will just deteriorate and fall apart. One day you'll pick up your old 78. Maybe there's 4 of them left in the world. That's the only recording of this old blues or jazz artist from the 1930s or the 1920s. You just pick it up and it just comes apart in your hands. And there's nothing you can do to stop that because they deteriorate.
Yeah.
What you can do is you can keep the pieces and you can put those pieces together very carefully on a record player that uses a laser to play it instead of a needle.
Wow.
And they can play that in that way, preserve the recording. So that's the only recording of Blind Willie Johnson that anyone has from the 1930s.
Wow.
Because the tape is gone. There was never a tape. What they did was they would record it live into a thing that would scratch it into a plate. And take that plate and put a mold against it and then use that to press the 78s. Heat them up and press 78s with them. And then that plate, the original plate, will shatter after you press a certain number of plates with it. So it's gone. Okay? everything's gone except 4 Blind
LPs.
Willie Johnson 78 records from 1928. And if you're the one of those just disintegrates and no one has a recording of it, that's the last of that recording. If you ever heard Blind Willie Johnson, you would be sad because he was a wonderful old country blues guy.
Yeah.
But anyway, so records, the scarcity. That's what scarcity is.
Right. Scarcity drives up price. Gold is scarce. Right?
Gold is scarce. That was the government coming in,
But first,
attacking,
trying to stop us.
trying to stop us because they didn't want you to hear that information about digital scarcity.
Right.
It was them.
The problem that I had early on when Doug was talking to me about Bitcoin, the whole scarcity and all that, I'm thinking, okay, you're just trying to create scarcity. But what I finally realized was when you look at it, sure, it's scarcity, which is fine. That's not really the true value. It's the utility value. What can you do with that scarcity? And that's what I finally started figuring out. The whole blockchain and the Bitcoin network is the world's largest computer network right now. Mm-hmm. It's bigger than anything.
It is
the biggest
bigger than every supercomputer combined times 500 as far as its processing power. Now, it only does one thing. It processes Bitcoin transactions. It mines. It crunches special numbers in the algorithm.
What if the government of the United States decided to make Bitcoin and cryptocurrency illegal?
Well, didn't they do that with drugs? How did that work out?
Yeah.
So you would just encrypt it.
It is encrypted.
It is encrypted.
All right.
There's no way to stop something that's peer to peer.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And
unlike drugs, you're not handing a bag of weed or blow to somebody in a street corner. It's digital and can be transferred over the internet from your phone. Mm-hmm. So how can the government stop that? They can restrict the on-ramps. Like, I'm going to go to the bank, pull out money, and then go to an exchange, a regulated exchange, which there are many in the U.S. and there are more around the world. Then there are unregulated exchanges, and they only became regulated in the last couple of years because the government didn't know how to define Bitcoin. The IRS defined it one way, the SEC defined it as something else, and the CFTC, FinCEN.
So does somebody want to make you pay taxes on your Bitcoin?
Oh yeah. Well, just like anything, right? If you fix cars and you get $600 fixing your neighbor's car, and they hand you cash, the government doesn't know you have that cash, but you're supposed to report it, right?
Right.
Okay. Same thing with Bitcoin. If you make money selling Bitcoin, then you're supposed to report it.
So could someone engineer a Bitcoin that crashes every year around IRS time?
So that you lose your value?
Exactly.
Oh, hey, now you're thinking. Right. Sorry, I lost money this year, so I get my taxes back.
Right.
Hey, you're onto something.
Well, some of these traders, I was talking to our accountant that he had a guy that did 1 million transactions in cryptocurrency trading last year. But it's all on record. So, buys, sells, profits, losses, all of that.
It's just like a stock market.
Net it out.
If you go to like Ameritrade, you're a broker, right? You're Ameritrade, you can do it online, and they have to keep track of every single trade, and they have to keep track of what it was this day, what it was sold for, and what you net profited, and they report to the IRS for you. Exchanges are going to start to do that sort of thing really soon, which is why exchanges aren't such a great thing. You should keep it peer-to-peer.
You should buy right now.
Well, you should buy right now, number one, but also you can go peer-to-peer, which is what it's made for.
Before the government decides that it must start tracking all this Bitcoin because there's money there and they're not getting none of it.
Right.
It's funny when a country talks about it's usually not even true that countries are talking about banning Bitcoin in their country. But a lot of times you'll read that, China's going to ban Bitcoin. And what happens when you get that news? One, Bitcoin usually skyrockets.
Right.
Two, you can actually see Bitcoin purchasing in that country skyrocket. There's a website called Fiat Leak, meaning fiat that's leaking out of the system into Bitcoin. Right. And it shows a visual map of every purchase being done from the native currency into Bitcoin. And right after you hear that, like China's banning Bitcoin, it's just flying in by the thousands of Bitcoin every day. It's hysterical.
That's an interesting concept, illegal money.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's say I have $1,000 in Bitcoin on my phone. What could I buy with it? What good does it do me to have it?
Well, there's a couple things. Right now, Bitcoin's best use is a savings. Savings has been destroyed in the U.S., right? Banks give you no interest for savings.
Because the government deflates the money by printing more. So the money you put into Social Security in 1965, that $1, you get back about 15 cents or less.
Yeah.
Right.
1 cent on the $1. If that $1 had the purchasing power that you put in 1965, when you got your Social Security back, you would be a rich person on the Social Security, but you're not. You're poor.
Because of inflation.
Because of inflation.
Right. So Bitcoin cannot be inflated.
So Bitcoin is the opposite of inflation.
It's deflationary.
Deflationary.
Just like gold. Gold is harder and harder to dig out of the ground. So new supplies of gold you cannot find very well. And to find it takes more energy in trucks and digging power and men to go pull it out of the ground and refine it into something usable. It takes more energy to pull it out and find it and turn it into something. And it's almost not worth it anymore, in some cases, depending on the price of gold. Bitcoin is the same way. It becomes harder and harder to mine Bitcoin because of the difficulty going up. Number one. Number two, there's less and less of it every 4 years.
And that's all mathematical.
Right.
There's diamonds, which they just found in the crust of the earth. There's trillions of pounds of diamond.
Yeah.
Where?
And if there was a way to get to them, and somebody may find some way, your diamonds will be worthless.
Well, diamond's artificial scarcity anyway, because they control how fast they mine out of South Africa.
That's true. There's a movie, Blood Diamond,
just
exposing that fact.
But that's the beauty of Bitcoin, because all Bitcoin is math. And you can't change math.
Right.
It's already pre-programmed. You cannot change that program. That's what I finally realized and what I liked about it. That is just a mathematical formula.
Right. And the cool thing is that nobody controls it. Well, I mean, how do you make improvements to it? Well, and Bitcoin is improved from time to time. So there are people who control it. Couldn't they change the amount that's available and make it
like they did with Facebook?
42 million Bitcoins instead of 21 million? No. Because of the protocol behind it, it would take the entire Bitcoin community, like 95% of the people, to agree, let's make it an inflationary currency. And that would be so against the best interest of the community because our money would be worth much less. The other cool thing is it's a protocol. That means nobody owns it. Nobody owns it. So, Mark, let me ask you a question. Who owns email?
Nobody.
What do you mean?
I saw an interview with the guy who invented email once.
Sure.
Yep. He didn't get any money from it.
Nope, because it's open source. That means companies like Google can build on an open source protocol called POP3 and SMTP. They can build an email program, and Gmail was born. Hotmail was born. Yahoo Mail was born. Right? That's a protocol that can be improved upon by the community or the companies who can find ways to make it better. And that'll happen. So Bitcoin is the same way. It's an internet protocol. That's all it is.
And there's lots of copies, or not necessarily copies, but other cryptocurrencies.
Other cryptocurrencies. What about those other cryptocurrencies?
Go ahead, Mark. You opened that one.
I like a lot of them because they're trying to narrow what each one of them is doing.
Specialize.
They're trying to specialize a target, like Ethereum is one that's trying to specialize the area of what's called smart contracts, meaning, use your example of records. You wait for someone to send you money, and then you're going to send off a record, but you want to know that it's been received and so forth. That's kind of like almost a smart contract.
They want to know that you sent it.
Yeah.
Is there evidence that it's been sent?
But what Ethereum does, you could actually have it set up on the internet where somebody buys it and it's in the smart contract to not release the funds to you until there's a signature on FedEx's website showing that they received their
It's like an escrow.
How about...
it can be. It's one of many smart contracts.
But one of the criticisms of Bitcoin is that it can be traced. So why have a currency that can be traced? What about cryptocurrencies that are untraceable?
Yeah, Monero is one of them. They're called privacy coins. And here's the cool thing. Almost anything that a privacy coin, Dash is purportedly one of them. Yeah. Monero is one of them. What are some other ones? Zcash. There's
Zcash,
there's some of these coins that specialize in privacy. But all the techniques that they use, mathematical algorithms and cryptography, can be adopted by Bitcoin in the future. So currently, Bitcoin is considered pseudo-anonymous. Pseudonymous is called.
So in the future, there could be anonymous
Bitcoin.
encrypted Bitcoin.
Yeah. What's funny is, I'm holding
And that would be converting some of the money that is currently, or some of the Bitcoin that has been created, into encrypted.
Yeah.
It would just have new math properties. One of the ways they do it is when you send Bitcoin from Doug to Mark, it would go through a pool first to be mixed with other people who are sending. And so no one knows which Bitcoin I sent and you're receiving.
Right.
It's called CoinJoin. And
Or you could also have a company that takes their hard drive, that's a Bitcoin currency exchanger or a cryptocurrency exchanger, that takes their hard drives at the end of the day and grinds them up.
well, you kind of don't need, you don't need to do that.
don't need to
There's
do that?
easier ways to
There are
to
easier
hide.
ways
Math can
Oh,
do
to
it for
encrypt
you.
it.
Well,
Math
yeah,
can do it
yeah.
for you.
Here's an
Math is
idea.
amazing.
There are many, there's a lot
Or
of
you could start a service where that cryptocurrency can start a service where you can send in your hard drives and they'll send you theirs.
You don't
and
need hard
then-
drives.
And then to eliminate where the hard drive was sent, so everyone has everyone else's hard drive. And
Well, they do that already. It's called the internet. And
called the internet?
Yeah, because in fact, the Bitcoin network works by thousands of nodes having the same record of every single Bitcoin transaction in the whole world. That's how it works. Bitcoin is nothing more than a ledger in the sky, in the cloud, of every single transaction that has ever taken place since the history of Bitcoin and every future one that's ever taken place.
Okay, and that's what gives it its value in
Yeah.
a sense.
That's one of the ways.
It's nothing that's been transferred a lot of times.
Exactly.
So it's worth something.
And split up and moved around.
Split up.
What's neat about it, let's say you have a wallet, like a phone, we were talking about phone wallets.
We'll get you
Right.
another one.
If you have a phone wallet and if you remember your password and you lose your phone and you have $1 million in Bitcoin on your phone and you're like, oh shoot, I lost my phone. What am I going to do? But
Right.
if you remember your password, you could go to another phone. As long as you have that password, you log in
So
on that
always keep your password
and it
when
automatically
you get your Bitcoin.
Yeah,
Right.
because your password is in the cloud. It's with the database in the sky, so to speak.
Yeah, the passwords that
Are
go
there
to the
people that are
wallets.
working on who don't remember their password, who are working, have computer programs that are trying to find
Absolutely, I
their
employed them
password
twice.
to get a
Successfully.
hold of your $1 million that
Yeah.
you have on your phone?
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
people that
Yeah,
specialize.
Dave's Wallet Recovery Service.
He'll take 20%
He's out of New
of
Zealand.
whatever you find.
Oh,
I
really?
know Dave. Yeah, and there's another guy named Dave actually in Atlanta who does something similar.
Yeah, as long as you know
Yeah.
an idea of what your password is,
Yeah, yeah.
you're going, yeah, I think it's, this.
Got
I
this
had a capital
number
this,
and this letters. Yeah,
They'll
because if,
run algorithms.
So where
track
can
it.
one buy Bitcoin? You go on the internet, you go to a machine. Is it
Yeah.
better to buy it at a machine or on the internet?
it depends. If you want to go through an exchange, like a regulated exchange, Coinbase is the first stop, and Coinbase is not a great way to get Bitcoin, but
Why not?
it's the
But it's-
easiest way to get
easiest.
Bitcoin. That's why it's a convenience factor for Westerners who like password recovery services, and someone else is holding your Bitcoin like a
What if
bank.
I don't want anyone to know that I bought Bitcoin? Where do I buy that Bitcoin? Do I buy it in a machine?
No, or you buy it from a person. You set up a personal meet-to-meet in a public place that's well lit at a Starbucks, and you bring the cash, he brings the Bitcoin.
Okay.
I've done that.
Yep, there's a service called Local Bitcoins, which is becoming more regulated, but it's still available. And then there's how many underground places are there, where you could just meet up with someone and
Which we don't recommend.
Right. Now, there's also machines. There are Bitcoin ATMs. In fact, there's one called Vault Logic, this company that Mark and I have formed, that makes a Bitcoin. I hate calling it a Bitcoin ATM machine because, number one, it does Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, Dash, Bitcoin Cash, Raven,
Any number of tokens we
and
can
we'll add
add.
a whole bunch of other ones too. So it's not just a single machine.
You can pay your bills on it.
Yeah, it's a bill pay kiosk. It's a cell phone top up kiosk.
So I can pay
And
my
it's a
phone
regular
bill with
ATM.
Bitcoin now?
No.
I
Well,
can?
it's cash.
With cash you can.
Can you?
Now,
You-
we will,
Can
there-
I
no,
convert
yeah,
it?
there
Can you
will-
put it into a machine and then it converts it into cash?
yeah.
Well, the machine. Yeah, you'll see the machine tomorrow, Mark.
How many people have how many people will accept Bitcoin?
How many
How many
businesses?
restaurants? How many businesses? Is it growing? Is there more?
Yeah, there's more every day.
It's still a niche thing. There are few, but it's growing. The famous ones, Overstock.com takes Bitcoin. They are the biggest retailer next to Amazon online company. Patrick Byrne is a famous libertarian who runs it.
A lot of tech companies,
Newegg, let's see. Oh, a Dish Network. You can pay in Bitcoin directly. Expedia does Bitcoin.
The easiest way that finally.
Oh, and Gift, GYFT. It's a gift card
So
company.
it's growing.
Yeah, gift card. So
my girlfriend, who she's a psychotherapist. She'll take Bitcoin to analyze you and hypnotize you. Huh?
It's kind of an ethereal. You can get an ethereal thing.
She's a crypto.
You can buy an ethereal thing with an ethereal money.
There you go.
No,
but I'll go on gift.com and I'll buy Target gift cards. I'll buy restaurant gift cards. Amazon.com.
Burger King.
And you just immediate transfer. You have it in your app. You scan the.
Oh, so that's the best way to do it, is to buy a gift card.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, with your Bitcoin.
Sure. Yeah. I do that all the time.
Because there's a famous joke about gift cards,
and
I believe it is Mitch Hedberg says that gift cards are a horrible thing, because why would you take money that's good everywhere and make it only good in one place?
Yep.
Well, in this case, it makes sense. Every one of those gift cards was bought with Bitcoin.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
So right now I'm looking at Doug's app, and he has Burger King, Amazon.com, Applebee's, Chili's, coffee places, Starbucks, Target gift card, Whole Foods. So where do you buy these cards? You go into what?
This app on my phone.
Gift.
Want me to do a demonstration live?
No, because we can't see it.
I know, but we can talk.
We can just explain it to people.
Our way through it.
We can explain it. It's
Well,
all right.
pretend you're
They
doing
get
it,
it. They get
All
it.
right. So anyway, GYFT. It's a great app.
It's an app.
Yeah.
So I could take my Bitcoin and I could buy an Amazon gift card, and then I could go and buy.
It's a great app besides Bitcoin. You could actually buy with PayPal,
right.
credit cards,
Amazon,
but you can take
movies.
your existing gift cards that you have, like $4 left on it, and add it to this app. So now you
He
store them
just
all
bought
in
a
an app.
$25.
Not yet. So now it's saying how do I want to pay? Debit card, PayPal,
All right.
or
He's buying a Starbucks gift card.
Bitcoin.
He's paying it with Bitcoin right now.
Oh, unable to process request. Oh, the Bitcoin network is exploding right now. It's probably why. Let me just try something.
I think it's because of our internet here. It's not the hottest
Oh,
internet.
yeah.
So anyway, then you could go to Starbucks and
there
get
it
a double half calf
Exactly.
latte with a twist.
Exactly.
Right.
So yeah, I'm buying a Target gift card right now. So it understands that I'm using Bitcoin, and now it's going to me 15 minutes to make a payment. Now it's going to show me which wallets I can use, and I've got like 7 wallets on my phone.
Okay. So these are wallets. People don't understand what that is. Explain
Yeah.
what a Bitcoin wallet is that goes on your phone.
A digital wallet is where you hold your digital cash. It's just like a regular wallet that you would have in your back pocket, and inside it are cryptocurrencies that you can take out and give to other people.
Or to back up to
Except
what we said earlier, you're accessing your
it's
wallet in the cloud.
Yeah.
It's a nothing wallet. You put nothing in, but you can take something out and buy something with it.
It's an access
Open
point to
wallet.
those digits in the cloud.
So this is going to change too. Pretty much more and more people will take Bitcoin as time goes on.
Yeah. And it may not be Bitcoin that people are taking. It may be one of the faster, smaller cryptocurrencies that's easier for transactions, where you could do hundreds of thousands of transactions a second. So it may be one of the other smaller cryptos that settle and store in Bitcoin. Bitcoin is becoming more of a store of value, where people are doing their day-to-day transactions. They have their smart contracts in Ethereum, and they're using Dash for their buying and selling, or whatever, transferring to their friends and so forth. But at the end of the day, they're storing it in Bitcoin because that's where they want to hold it. That's the gold standard, so to speak.
And they're using Bitcoin to buy other currencies that are more easily transferable.
Exactly, in and out, yeah. So you're doing that as kind of your savings account, moving it into your quote crypto checking account. That's the way a lot of people see Bitcoin becoming.
So what about Bitcoin crashing? It crashes and it's worth nothing.
It's not worth nothing. It'll probably never be worth nothing. It can go down, it'll go up and down, it goes up and down, mostly up, but yeah.
I looked at some
But it goes
stats.
down and it mostly goes up.
It's very volatile. I looked at some
Is there an
stats.
app I can put on my phone that tells me when it's crashing so I can buy?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's
you get beat.
Bitcoin crashing?
just go to
Cryptocurrency crash?
Just say, okay, Google, what's the price of Bitcoin? And then it'll say, oh crap, it's down $1,000.
Well, you get alerts. You can set alerts.
Yeah,
if
I've got a program
If it
called,
changes like percentage, you can say if it goes down 20%, I want an alert.
Right. So
It'll
I've
let
got,
you know.
it's called Bitcoin Paranoid. And every time it moves 3%, I get a hands clapping if it goes up and a if it goes down.
That's what on Silicon Valley, one of the engineers, he had an app set up on his computer. So every time it went up or down 3%, it would play this like metal, like raw, and it was a volatile day, and it was playing back and forth like every 5 seconds. It was hysterical.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. You can deal with the volatility. Like Doug, since he's been into it and since I started following it, Bitcoin's gone up dramatically and down 80, 90, 95%. I think, didn't you have at one point where it went up to $150 and back down to $1.50?
Yeah. Oh,
And
yeah.
I'm like, aren't you freaking out? And he's, no.
Doesn't go back up.
Because I understand the technology behind it, I wasn't in it. I wasn't in it for the money. So a lot of people who are greedy get into something for the money and they speculate that it's going to go up, and then it goes down and down, and then they get scared and they're dumb money and they jump out and sell it to the smart guy who's buying it.
Right.
Right. It's called dumb money, and so if you're in it just to get rich, you might be
So
sad.
there's a philosophical component
Right.
Yeah,
there is.
behind it.
Yeah. For me.
When cryptocurrency and blockchain and Bitcoin and this whole technology work and essentially become an alternative system, it's not going to matter what the value is in dollars.
Right.
Because it's going to have its own underlying value backed in its own, Bitcoin. That's going to be the value.
It's money that the government can't deflate.
Right.
Because it wants to pay for the war, it wants to pay for the entitlements, it wants to pay for whatever comes up.
Exactly.
Fences. So if I could recommend to your listeners, one of the greatest orators in Bitcoin space, name is Andreas Antonopoulos. It's a long name. Andreas Antonopoulos. He is the best explainer and orator of the philosophy behind Bitcoin, why it's pretty much unstoppable. And what about the government shutting it down? Well, he has answers for every one of these things, and they are just one sentence zingers that you go, oh.
Yeah, so he's on YouTube?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He's
all over YouTube.
he's great.
Yeah. He's one of our greatest speakers in the space. So, yeah, the philosophy behind Bitcoin is, and one thing Andrea says is really interesting. The period of time where government-controlled money is a short 200-year span, and we're in it right now. It's probably going to end pretty soon with the digital currencies. But before the Federal Reserve came around, Mark, right? What was there? There was gold-backed currencies, right? There were actual silver and gold coins that were easily accessible to everybody. And the government couldn't deflate them or inflate them. They tried, they snipped them, right? There was all these cases of governments doing this, but those coins became worth less and less, and people knew it. So Bitcoin, you can't do that. So it retains its value, and governments...
Out of the control of the government.
Yeah.
What if the government sees the server?
What server?
There's no server.
That's
No
just,
server?
No.
There's nothing for them to see.
Biggest internet in the world.
It's the largest node. It's tens of thousands of people running the exact same software. So if one goes down, there's 9,000 other ones.
So all the Bitcoin transactions are in each single Bitcoin that gets sold or bought or exchanged.
Right.
You have the history of the entire thing preserved inside of that.
Yep.
Not only that, they launched it.
Okay, so what question am I not asking about Bitcoin that I should be asking?
Well, gosh, Mark,
Been pretty thorough.
who's the founder?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Who's the founder of Bitcoin?
Yeah. Who's in charge?
Someday is this picture on Bitcoin in the front of it?
Yeah, do you know that there is a founder?
Yeah, who is it?
Satoshi Nakamoto.
Oh, really?
Yep, and nobody knows who he, she, or they are.
Really?
They disappeared in 2014.
With all their money?
No.
All their Bitcoin?
Well, yeah.
No.
They do have.
We know
The original wallet.
He mined about a million Bitcoins as a demo, early days when it was less than a penny, right? Just to explain how that worked. And he was communicating with other developers as it gained some popularity, including Hal Finney, who's a very famous cryptographer, and all these other, hackers. So the Bitcoin, everyone knows where it is, and it's just sitting there, and it's worth $1 billion.
Okay.
So the idea is if the cryptographic proof that Satoshi Nakamoto is alive is if those Bitcoins ever get transferred. Because the only way you can transfer Bitcoin is if you have the private key.
Maybe somebody killed him.
So there's an idea, Mark. Well, anyway, so that's the mystery. That's a question.
That's a mystery,
Right.
Bitcoin mystery. Okay.
But never a penny has been spent.
I know on stocks there's something called a put option where you can make money off it if it goes down.
That's shorting.
Shorting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, I have no idea how that works.
Yeah.
But is there something similar to that with Bitcoin?
Absolutely. Yeah. You can short anything that people design a short market around.
Uh-huh.
So the way shorts work is you borrow someone else's Bitcoins and you're guessing the price is going to go down.
Uh-huh.
That's what your chart reading, that's what your fundamental analysis is, that you think the news is going to come out. So a trader would gamble that price can go up or down. If he thinks it's going to go down, he borrows someone else's Bitcoin and he sells it. And now he's got cash, right? Mm-hmm. But he owes that guy the Bitcoins back, okay? Mm-hmm. But he's got cash. And let's say he's right, the price of Bitcoin goes down. So guess what? He takes the cash, buys the Bitcoin at a lower price, pays the guy back, and keeps the profit.
Keeps the rest.
That's what a short is.
Okay.
And that is a very important balancer in all markets. It provides liquidity. It stabilizes markets.
Are there people that do you do that? Are there people that do that?
Oh yeah.
Well, actually, at the beginning of the year, the legitimate like Chicago Board of Trade
The
and
CBOE.
they actually started shorting contracts with cryptocurrency or with Bitcoin.
The largest Chicago board, mercantile board, what are they called?
Chicago Board of Trade.
Yeah, exactly.
How about boards of trades that are not government affiliated online?
There are
There's
exchanges.
There are shorting.
There's
there
exchanges.
are exchanges across the world where you can short Bitcoin. Bitfinex you can short. Kraken you can short.
Kraken you can short.
Exactly.
Crack cocaine? Can you short that?
Kraken. Kraken. It's an exchange.
So I think the price of crack is going to go down. So I want to
buy it now.
Buy crack now.
Borrow crack.
Borrow crack.
Sell the crack.
Sell the crack.
Wait for it to go down and buy it back.
And then buy it back and give it back to the crack addicts before they kill me.
Right.
Some of the there's people that speculate that part of the reason Bitcoin skyrocketed like it did last year, it went from $1,000 to almost $20,000 in a matter of months. Mm-hmm. Because in January, that's when the quote legitimate exchanges started trading Bitcoin derivatives and Bitcoin futures.
Futures, yeah.
But it also happens when people write bad stuff about Bitcoin online. They start saying, "Don't invest in Bitcoin; it goes up anyway."
Yeah, it depends who says it. If Warren Buffett says it, or if old people say it who don't even have email addresses, you know that's a good sign to buy Bitcoin.
Buy Bitcoin.
Like Warren Buffett recently said, Bitcoin is rat poison.
Right.
And how would he know? He doesn't have a smartphone.
He dissed Google. He said Amazon was bad.
Right.
All of the tech.
Right.
He's not a tech guy, so I don't blame him for not understanding it because he's never been into
Google
tech.
thing gonna blow over, huh?
Exactly.
This whole internet thing.
It's
this whole
a fad.
fad.
You know who said that?
Blow over.
Ben Bernanke said that.
Ben Bernanke.
Mm-hmm.
The Beatles are going to blow over.
Right. Was it Ben Bernanke who said that? So here, I want to show you something else really cool. So you see this is a $20 bill. I'm showing Mark. Now,
Doug is showing me a $20 bill.
Now this is a serial number on it, right?
Right.
Okay, does your wallet know what serial numbers are in your wallet?
No.
So if I give this to you, I have no record that I've ever had it.
Right.
And if you give it to Mark, there's no record that you've ever had it.
Thanks.
Right? Okay, that is untraceable money.
Right.
Bitcoin is a little more traceable if you know. That's why it's pseudo-anonymous. If you can determine whose wallet or address it belongs to, and through good old-fashioned police work, like we found the guy's phone, we looked inside of it, we found his computer. Now you can find out where criminals, if they are truly criminals, are sending their money, and it's easy to find them. You can't do that with government cash.
What if someone stole your Bitcoin and they started spending it online? Could you find them?
You could. You could try to. There are ways to obfuscate Bitcoin. There really are. And one of the...
I mean, that would insure it against someone, holding a gun to my head and making me give them my Bitcoin.
Well, you could follow it, but the thing is someone's going to send $20 worth of Bitcoin to 3 addresses, And then those 3 addresses will send to 10 addresses each, and now you're tracking 30 addresses. And each of those will be sent to 50 addresses each, and now you're tracking thousands of addresses. And then they get turned into Litecoin or Monero or Dash on an exchange, and you've sort of broken the chain of custody. And now you've got, the criminal now has other coins, which you can trade right back in for Bitcoin, and it's air gapped. So there are ways to obfuscate Bitcoin transactions, but it's much more traceable than a $20 bill. By the way, this $20 bill, how much cocaine is on this, you think, right?
It's cocaine on all $20 bills.
Yeah.
Right. Are you a criminal because you had this in your wallet?
According to some people are in jail for that right now.
That they had a $20 bill in their wallet that happened to test
which
positive?
is all of them.
Yeah.
It's crazy talk, right?
It's nuts.
Yeah. Anyway, there's the story.
There's a story of Bitcoin. All right, well, thanks a lot. This has been Pod Potatoes with Doug Scribner, and if you want to talk
Mark Hilgenberg.
and Mark Hilgenberg, if you wanted to talk to either of you online or look up your company, where would they go? If you want them to.
Vaultlogic.com. Vaultlogic.com.
.com.
Right.
Do you have an email address you want to give out? No? It's okay if you
Sure.
don't.
Twitter. You can
Twitter?
follow The real
I'll get
Vault
mine.
I
Logic.
followed you yesterday on Twitter.
Mark@vaultlogic.com.
Mark@vaultlogic.com or Doug@vaultlogic.com.
That's right.
Okay, so now we have it. All right, well, thanks a lot, you guys. Thanks for
Thank you.
filling
Thanks,
us
Mark.
in. This is the first and probably not the last show
That you'll
I
do.
will do about Bitcoin. Thanks a lot. Thanks for letting me be of service.